Hi there, welcome to Island by Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Cancer energy. And we're going to do this 10 card spread. And we're going to see what's going on in Cancer energy. Ooh. And we're going to kind of read it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will. And just like all the other zodiac signs, Cancer is about love of self and love of others. And some people still have some lessons to learn about that, as we all do on our journey. But, some people still are using their emotions more manipulatively. It's more about finding someone to love them, but they don't really, they're kind of more focused on themselves, and it's more about people loving them and not necessarily them grasping the concept about really loving others. Some people are more emotionally manipulated in their love of self and self-protection nature, that it can be more being about them and using their emotions more manipulatively to get what they want, but not really authentically doing love. So everybody taps into Cancer energy. This might be something, though, that particularly might be something that Cancer energy at large is dealing with. And maybe people who are Cancer sun signs or have significant Cancer placements might be more affected by it than other people, but we all tap into Cancer energy. So I view this as the overarching reason for the reading. It's the Four of Wands, and high vibe, the Four of Wands is you yourself are firing on all four cylinders. We have our heart, our mind, our 3D nature, and our creative, passionate nature. And, it can take a lot of life lessons to learn that all four are equally important. But, at different periods of our life, we could think one, two, or three of the other aspects are more important. And the Four of Wands is Aries energy, which is about the self. And sometimes we're a little bit more caught up in ourself. And sometimes we're more caught up in the world. Sometimes we're more caught up in other people. And, the Four of Wands can talk about coming together with others in joy and celebration. And sometimes that takes precedent in people's life. I just want to have a friend or be in a relationship, and that kind of is clouding their judgment. At the end of the story, we have the Eight of Cups of moving forward, but how are we moving forward? Then we have the Nine of Wands. Are we still moving forward? The Nine of Wands in shadow can be that we're still kind of emotionally indulging our more immature nature. And is that our truth? Is that's what's important to us? Is to make it more about indulging our more immature nature? Or some people are going to keep moving forward. The Nine of Wands can be being defensive. Some people are like, yep, I'm defensive. That's how I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep being defensive. They could be in friendships and relationships with people, but they're still like defensive to maybe being independent of some things that manipulate them emotionally. So those things are they're going to move forward with them, and those things still emotionally manipulate them. Other people have been inspired to become independent of things that manipulate them. High vibe energy is about being independent. I want to see the things that manipulate me within myself. How does my own kind of more immature, worldly, shadowy nature manipulate me? How do other people who are kind of more about themselves or defensive or indulgent or more about themselves or the world? I need to, if that's not how I want to live my life, I need to have good boundaries within myself, stand up for myself and what I believe in. And the people that are doing that are moving forward with people in their life who also have good boundaries, who are also independent, who are also more inspired by hope and faith and belief. And the other people might be defending people who are more inspired by what they're inspired by, but it might not be having good boundaries, being independent, firing on all four cylinders, motivated and inspired by love. It might be defending certain friendships and relationships for other reasons. So let's go see what's going on. We have the Wheel of Fortune, the Ten of Swords, And the Nine of... what is that? Oh, it's Nine of Swords. Okay. Haven't used this deck for a long time. So, because some people were inspired, the Wheel of Fortune can be, I'm going to go with the flow. I'm going to... What do we have here? The Queen of Wands and the Strength card and the Knight of Wands. So, emotionally, the queens can talk about how we think and feel. I'm going to go with the flow. I'm inspired emotionally in the Two of Wands, which is also Aries energy, to believe in myself and believe in my dreams and look to the future. So I need to temper myself and my ego and my fears and my insecurities and see what's over in the Ten of Swords. Like, I've completed a cycle. I could have been in certain friendships, relationships, or jobs with people, and I see how we want to move forward and kind of what we're motivated and inspired by is different. I kind of learned the lesson I was meant to learn from that cycle, and that cycle's over, and I'm also not going to be up in my head about it anymore. Because the Nine of Swords can be about being up in your head about it. Like, why aren't they motivated and inspired by this? Why don't they want to move forward like this? And, the 8 and the 9 and the 10 of Swords are all Gemini energy, which is about our dualistic and our free will nature. Well, some people have a lot of fear about listening to their intuition and believing in themselves or tempering their ego. Or here in the Knight of Wands, which is Sagittarius energy, like the Nine of Wands, some people have a lot of fear about moving forward in life differently. They might want to keep moving forward in their life, but they might harness these energies in a more shadowy way. And I view the Queen of Wands and the Strength card both as Leo energy, which in shadow can be from their more defensive nature, from their more egoic nature, maybe living more from their mind than their heart, wanting to be in relationship with people, but emotionally operating more from their defensive egoic nature. In their free will, they might not be inspired to become independent from living more from their mind than their heart. So they could have decided, I'm not harnessing high vibe fire energy to be more bold and brave and confident. I might not want to step out of my comfort zone. I might not want to stand up to my own fears and insecurities and pride or ego or defensive nature. Because that's the battle starts. Aries energy is about the self. The battle starts within us. But sometimes we think, no, 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 it's other people. No, like I need to have other people love me to temper my ego and my fears. No, that puts us in more codependent energy. Is it helpful to have loving and encouraging and supportive people around you? Yes. But until you get inspired, high vibe Sagittarius is about being inspired to learn the lessons we need to learn in life. Life is meant to be this adventure. We come in contact with all these different people in the world. They have their truth. We have our truth. Some of them do live more from their mind than their heart. Some of them are more prideful or manipulative or shadowy Aries, bossy and controlling. Some of them are immature. Some of them are more self-indulgent. Okay. Can we just... High vibe Leo's about seeing the truth. Can I just accept the truth of that? It's not all about me. I can't control other people. Other people have the free will to have their truth. And if that's how they choose to be, I have the free will to decide if I'm willing to stand up to them or not. And we have our more shadowy nature within ourselves that wants us to align with living more from our mind than our heart and being in our defensive nature and our egoic nature. It's like our self-protective nature. but it can stop us from taking action on our dreams and living the life we dream of because, we have this dualistic nature and one or the other is kind of in the driver's seat of our life. Which one is kind of driving our life? Our more defensive, worldly, egoic nature or our more creative, inspired nature? But, that doesn't happen just overnight. That takes a lot of work and effort to free yourself from things that manipulate you. And to go from like the Four of Wands to the Nine of Wands, you have to take back the Five of Wands. And the Five of Wands can be aligning with the competition, our more egoic nature, and staying in friendships and relationships with people who seem to be more motivated not by truth, love, justice, fairness, growing, healing, maturing, but maybe more about doing things the way we've done it or the way they've been doing it. And the Five of Wands can talk about that's Leo energy. It kind of has us in our ego, causes us some inner conflict because we don't understand why. Well, until other people put an end to their fears about being more authentic and standing up for themselves and working through and willing to see the truth about what manipulates them, it's going to keep manipulating them. And for some of them, they do want to kind of be more immature and self indulgent. Well, so long as they want to be more immature and self indulgent and defensive and more about themselves and operate more from their ego or their defensive nature, they're probably going to keep doing it. If they have other people in their life who kind of manipulate and control them, but they don't want to see the truth of it, well, then they're going to keep not seeing the truth of it. Other people have seen the truth. They went through some things that caused them mental conflict, maybe made them feel backstabbed, causes them a lot of stress and anxiety, felt like people were trying to manipulate and control them. And eventually those people got inspired. The Eight of Cups is walking away from the Seven of Cups, which is kind of the illusion of love. Love is supposed to be just and fair. You're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. High vibe energy is about being independent and respecting everybody as their own independent individual person that has their own dreams, aspirations, and interests that can be different from other people's. But there's some people in the world that don't like that. No, you're supposed to do life like we do life. And if you stand up for yourself, we won't like it. We'll be mad at you. Maybe we won't talk to you anymore. Or we'll backstab you or, you know, because they don't live their life that way. They're not very independent. They let all these things within themselves and the world and these ways of viewing life have their own lack of hope and faith and belief in themselves and in their dreams and in others and in love. And then they don't want other people to kind of work through it. What if those people go live their life and go temper their ego and their fear and they're more bold and brave and confident and independent? Well, sometimes when we can have friends or family in our life who see that other people are becoming kind of more independent, not as caught up in the illusion or the fears that they might be caught up in, it can really stress those people out. I guess it's hard to wrap your brain around why it bothers them so much, but it could be because, again, they have a lot of things that manipulate them. And if other people become independent of it and they stand up for themselves against those things within themselves and people in their life, it might make them wonder, why don't I do that? But instead, it causes them a lot of fear, anxiety to think of doing that. So instead, I have an idea. I'm just going to try to manipulate the people in my life not to love and believe in themselves and go live their more authentic life. Then that will be the answer. Then I won't be stressed out and worried anymore because these are people that I want to have their life like I live my life. Because then, other people might go live their life differently. But if it's someone that is someone I'm in a foundation with of some sort, again, could just be brother, sister, blah, blah, parents to children. If they go live their life differently, it'll bother me. So then those people might try to communicate to some of the people who seem to be moving forward differently, wait, you shouldn't move forward with those people. You should stay my friend, stay more aligned with me. And sadly, some of those people will maybe try to use the love that they know that some people have for them to try to manipulate and control them and make them defensive. I don't think you should trust those people. I don't think you should listen to your intuition. I don't know. I don't think this is a good, we're meant to go on our own adventure. That is Sagittarius energy. Everything that we go pursue might not work out the way we think. And we can all have love for people. It's one thing to tell people, you know, we could definitely think some people are doing some wrong things. Well, there's nothing wrong with illuminating our concerns, but it'd be better to tell the people maybe that, which can be really hard, especially if you think they are being manipulated and they're really, you might just want to say, I really hope that you're listening to your intuition. I hope you're not kind of getting more caught up in lust or greed or pride or ego or fear or codependency, but, you know, listen to your intuition. And I hope you're communicating your truth about what you think is just and fair. And I hope you're seeing what the other people idea of what's just and fair. Because if you do have different ideas of kind of what you think is just and fair in a relationship, that's going to cause a problem. And kind of what you're ultimately motivated and inspired by. But, that's all we can do. We can offer people truth and love and then, give them our best advice. And then they're going to go on their own journey. But there's some people in life who really do not like that. It's like, I don't want you to be more independent. I want to be able to control and manipulate you, even if I am your friend or your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad, you know? And if I'm in a romantic relationship, I might not like you being more independent and standing up for yourself either. Maybe when we got in a friendship or relationship or you started a job somewhere, we could have all felt like something that we had been in and defending hadn't worked out the way we wanted. And we were all stressed a little bit about if we were going to find a new relationship, right? And then we can meet some people. We can be happy, like, oh my goodness, I found a new beginning to be happy. This is someone I think my dreams can come into reality. And so long as everybody is being authentic, people are being loving and encouraging and supportive, people are having good boundaries, people are encouraging other people to love and believe in themselves and stand up for themselves with each other and together and offer other people love and encouragement to move forward with them in that way. This would be a high vibe relationship that people are in. Let's look at what this card is. Two of Pentacles in reverse, no longer juggling. You know, we can have people in our life that we don't kind of juggle each other. I really do like you. I really do value this friendship or relationship. I really do want to move forward in this. Um, I'm willing to defend it. You're willing to defend it. We're both inspired to be more independent. And we can do that for a long time with some people, and we are kind of loving and encouraging and supportive of each other. But there, with some relationships, sometimes it can get to a place where because we can all help each other work through some of our fears and our insecurities and our self-limiting beliefs to kind of love and believe in ourselves. But then one person could kind of in their, you know, these here are all like fire sign energy. Initially, for probably the first 30, 40 years of our life, I think that we're kind of pretty inspired to make our life a little bit more about the world and, these things of the world that we want to manifest and um, friendship and relationship and all these different things. But then as we get older, you know, making our life more about those things, we could be more inspired to really kind of be more inspired to look at life differently. And maybe when we were a little more caught up in the world, we could have lived a little bit more from our mind and our worldly egoic nature and not really comfortable because, again, we had to learn all these lessons to help us get clear about what our truth was, what our truth wasn't, came in contact with all these different people. And then there can come this time where we're really kind of more ready to just really be more authentically ourselves from love and high vibe. That, it's kind of another level of, you know, no more juggling. And also, though, really kind of knowing how to give ourselves the things that we wish other people would have given us. So our more worldly, shadowy energy can be a little bit more codependent and really getting more balanced within ourselves. And the Two of Pentacles is also Capricorn energy, and shadowy Capricorn is the devil. Just kind of seeing how a lot of more things that we see from maybe a bigger picture kind of used to more manipulate us, or that we still, even though we might have learned some lessons in life and different things, maybe we weren't as willing to really believe in ourselves or listen to our intuition to guide us more. And we might have made more decisions out of codependency and fear and these things that we wanted in the world. And then when someone does get to be where, I really feel more stable and balanced within myself, maybe than I ever have before. And I've really kind of worked through some of those things that used to cause me some inner conflict. And because I wanted some of these things in the world, and I maybe used to get pretty stressed out about having some of those things in the world, and maybe kind of not wanting to see the truth that some of the people in my life, maybe it was a little more codependent, maybe it was feeling a little more manipulated, feeling like other people were kind of being more immature, defensive, or controlling. And it's like, I've just kind of gotten to the point that if it's not really inspired by truth and love and more just and fair and balanced, and there's like equal give and take, always kind of, and where people are more independent of their more worldly egoic, which can be slightly being a little bit more about themselves than being more loving and encouraging to everyone to stand up for themselves and love and believe in themselves. I might, I'm kind of ready to put an end to being up in my head about it. And I'm going to go on this adventure being more emotionally independent and believing in myself. No more going back and forth. And if other people have been going back and forth, I'm going to let them continue to go back and forth, but I'm not going to be up in my head about it. I'm going to keep moving on, and I'm going to keep standing up for what I believe in. And the nines can be again that you're getting ready to close out an old chapter in your life. And you could have closed out one here, maybe living a little bit more from your mind than your heart. Now you could be closing out a chapter of being more inspired to align with your more worldly nature and be in friendships and relationships with people who are more about that. Wanting to be in relationships with people who are more inspired to give birth to something new, more independent of their repeating an old pattern. And as you're doing that, there could be some people who have went through their own situations in life that have been doing some of this work within themselves also. And, as we're moving forward, just like other people have moved on ahead of us, we could be this person coming into other people's lives. And they're like, oh, I was waiting to see who was going to come with me on this new journey. Because some of the people in my life didn't want to go. And just like we're meeting some people who are like that, as we're moving forward in that way, some people in our life could be like, hey, I want to come with. But everybody has learned now to have good boundaries within themselves, to stand up for what they believe in. They are going to speak their truth, be authentic. This is the kind of friendships and relationships I want to be in. If you're still more fearful, more about yourself, more about your ego and image, more immature, try to manipulate and control people, you can't come with. Because I've already been there and done that. And if some people and your intuition tells you, no, some of these people you are going to have good boundaries to, because I don't think you've changed. I think you might want to come with, because whatever you were in and living life didn't work out. But I still don't think you're more independent. I think, it's kind of the impression that you're kind of willing to indulge me in some way because emotionally you think it'll be kind of beneficial for you, but it's not really inspired by truth and love. And, again, trying to manipulate people for some alternative purpose. And the people in your life who you think are being authentic and are more independent and are not juggling and are from the Two of Wands to the Nine of Wands is letting go of the Seven of Wands, which is also Leo energy, of kind of defending this old way of living life, or being more about themselves or more about the world or other people in their life. If you have dropped that and you are ready to stand up to your own shadow nature, stand up to the world and other people in your life who might not, might try to manipulate you or control you, and this is your truth and this is my truth, then we'll move forward together in that way. So let's see what's coming up for the people who harness some high vibe Cancer energy. Moving forward with the people in their life who they feel are more independent, more authentic, have good boundaries, inspired, looking to the future, inspired by truth and love. What's coming up for some of those people that they might not see coming? I just wanted to get the cards out, but I want to pause for a minute. As you move forward in your life, your own shadow nature is going to challenge you, because your shadow nature kind of wants you to let your shadow nature and your ego and your fear and your insecurity and all those things kind of manipulate and control you, because then your shadow nature is in the driver's seat of your life. So your own shadow nature is going to challenge you in your fear and your insecurity and all that stuff. And if you're like, no, I'm offering high vibe Leo, I'm offering truth and love to all my fears and insecurities, and we're going to keep looking to the future, and there is no going back and forth. Truth and love and listening to our intuition and having hope and faith and belief in ourselves is how we're going to keep taking action. That is the foundation we're operating from now. And then as you're moving forward, there's always going to be other shadowy people in the world, people from your past, people in your present that are going to be defensive to you doing that because they would like things to stay the way they are or go back to a way they are. And they either want to for you to let them come with you even though you've seen and could know that they're more immature or bossy or controlling or whatever, and they just want to see though stop you and see if you'll indulge them in a relationship again instead of moving forward. And with some of those people, it's like, no, I've already been in a relationship with you in that kind of dynamic, being loving and encouraging, hoping you would grow up and mature yourself. And I still don't think you've done it. I think you just don't like the way things are. So you kind of want to come back in, but I think you're still more about yourself. And I think you got some growing up and maturing to do. And other people you're going to meet, shadowy energy just exists in the world. And shadowy energy tries to stop high vibe energy from giving birth to something new. So there'll be other people in the world that will kind of be defensive to you and not wanting to work with you cooperatively. And I think high vibe energy finally is like, it's kind of like really trusting in that if we live in a duality where we have free will and we have this dualistic nature, it's like those energies battle against each other in the world at the big picture. So we refer to high vibe shadowy energy kind of being represented by the devil and high vibe energy being represented by God. That I believe those forces exist in the world. Shadowy energy at a big picture doesn't want people to give birth to new things. It's like dead energy. High vibe energy does want, it's kind of where we got our creative, inspired, fiery, intuitive, hope and faith and belief nature from. I'm going to align with that and believe that that power is more powerful than any other forces that try to come up against me. And I'm going to put my faith and trust in that uh, if I listen to my intuition, I deal with the truth, don't stay in denial of the truth, that my intuition will guide me where to go. And I believe because high vibe energy wants to give birth to new things, and we have our own unique talent, skills, and interest, and all those things that high vibe energy knows the truth that we do. That if we put our trust more in that, we do put in work and effort to work cooperatively with people in truth and love and use uh, our words and our character and our integrity and putting in work and effort to make those things work, but believing that the divine will kind of guide us if we listen to it, right? And there's always going to be people who pop up, an energy force that pops up trying to stop you, and you just, and not, some of them are like, stop right there. I want to go with you. And it's like, okay, you know, and you could have been waiting also for some people, hoping some people would get out of their fear and their insecurity. But there comes a time I can't keep waiting. You know, it's just like God wants to work with people who have hope and faith and belief and love and in themselves to get out of living their life in ways that aren't conducive to them moving forward. Life is meant to be enjoyed, but again, in balance and moderation, and enjoy life, but keep looking to the future, keep believing in yourself, keep giving birth to the new you that you could become, shed old layers of yourself. And just like we shed being like a 15-year-old to become more like an 18-year-old, we shed those old ways of being. We temper our fears. We get inspired. I can conquer that next level of life, even though I'm kind of defensive. And then as we do it, then we view it as something we're standing up and defending. I wouldn't want to go back to being like a 15-year-old. And the thing is, we go through that throughout our life. At different stages of life, we've lived life a certain way. We viewed life a certain way. We had a certain things that we were motivated and inspired by, and ways of viewing life that we were thought were just and fair. We don't view those things as just and fair or view life that way anymore. And so now we're standing up for what we believe in at going to this next phase of life. And some people aren't going to come with, some people aren't inspired to come with, some people want to be the next person to indulge in a relationship and go on that journey with you, but it's not their truth. And other people, that is their truth. And you have learned to trust your intuition, to get to know people and communicate with people, to figure out and listen to your intuition about what really ultimately drives and motivates them. What's coming up for the high vibe people they might not see coming? The Page of Wands, the Fool card, and the Seven of Cups. And the reason is because of the Ace of Wands. Well, you've maybe offered inspiration, could be to younger people in your life, people who harness their Aries energy differently than you do. Because in your Cancer energy, you're inspired by truth and love, and some other people in their Aries energy of themselves, they could still be more about themselves or more indulging themselves or just have a more immature or codependent view of life. And you've kind of seen through the illusion of it. And again, if there's people who might communicate with you that they want to move forward in this way, but then they're not taking action to have this new beginning, well, then it could have been just to keep you in a standstill and defensive while they're going and doing whatever they're doing. And it's like, this is either your truth or it's not. And no more illusions. If people are motivated and inspired to put in work and effort into this, they would put in work and effort into this. And some people are not putting in work and effort to balance things out with me, to be more just and fair. So I see the truth of it, and I wish you peace, but I'm going to go have this new beginning. And as you're doing that, there could be other people in the world that are like, again, hey, can I be the next person to indulge in a relationship with you? No. And there's going to be other people that are like, I've went through this same thing and I'm no longer an illusion. You seem to present yourself and by your actions show that you are very tempered in your ego, very inspired to move forward and not repeat some certain patterns. And you seem to have good boundaries within yourself, because we all know we could go indulge in our lust, our greed, our pride and ego, get in relationship just to be in relationship if we wanted. But you're not getting in a relationship with just anybody, and other people see that, and other people could see you as someone who has good boundaries, is more emotionally independent than codependent, less about your ego and your image bothering you or something. And you're really someone, high vibe Seven of Cups and high vibe Scorpio is someone who knows yourself, because Scorpio emotionally can be about exploring the mysteries of life. You know yourself and you've learned these lessons in life, and if you kind of plant bad seeds, you're going to get a bad harvest. So you're not planting bad seeds. And you also are someone who doesn't want a more shadowy Scorpio relationship that's more superficial and shallow. You want deep, meaningful, authentic, inspired by love relationships. And there's other people who could see that, and some of those people, and even friends or family members, know that truth about you, and they're standing up for you. But if you're not in a relationship already, some other people could come in to stand up and defend you. because they've also been in relationships with people and they have the free will to get in relationships with people like that too, and they don't want to do that anymore. It is more about, you end up feeling backstabbed, you end up being stressed out, people are being manipulative, people are being immature, people are being bossy and controlling and defensive and wanting to be indulged. And if you don't do that, you don't want to be in a relationship with other people who do that. And other people could be illuminated to the truth that you are who you say you are. And they want to be someone who gets to know you. The pages can just be friendly gestures of getting to know people so that you can do this work to find out, are we kind of more on the same page, and what I think is just and fair and what you think is just and fair. And have we both worked through some of our fears and our insecurities and our ego nature and defensive nature to move forward in a new beginning? And with some of those people, it will work, and some of the people, it won't. Irregardless, you're not giving up your dreams. That's like the Two of Wands. I keep believing in my dreams. Life is about going on this journey, meeting all these different people, learning these different lessons in life, and get better at seeing the truth of things and listening to my intuition. What's coming up for some people who harness some more worldly, shadowy Cancer energy? So they're kind of more emotionally manipulated by their worldly egoic nature, and then in turn could use their emotions more manipulatively. The Star card. Why? Because of the Three of Wands. So here we have the Two of Wands, and people are taking action on their dreams. And then from the Three of Wands to the Nine of Wands, it's taking back the Six of Wands. Something that people used to do in their life and ways of viewing life, or people they used to be in relationship with, they at one time had viewed that as like victorious and successful, but they don't anymore. And they're having this new beginning, letting go of an old way of living life, which is Six of Wands, is Leo energy. And they're taking action to bring their dreams into reality. And the shadowy people, their idea of the dream life that they wanted to bring into reality, and they maybe still do, it's kind of more again about this more worldly dream. Well, we should be in a relationship. This would be good for our ego and our image. We'd have someone to be in a relationship with. Another relationship didn't work out. We should stay in this one. But it can be more for the ego and the image and the status than really being inspired by love. And some people who have been in friendship and relationship with these people, they're always going to have some more high vibrational people in their life that are trying to move things forward. And the other people are like, well, in order to do that, I'd have to get out of defending my being more about myself or my defensive nature or my egoic nature or the world or other people in my life that kind of manipulate me. And they're like, can't you come back and just do it this way? And some people are like, I'm leaving. And they maybe didn't see that coming, because loving people can be very patient with people, trying to get them, because they don't want to walk away either. But there comes a time where I can't keep staying in denial of the truth. Your idea of the dream relationship or dream work environment or dream relationship is different than my idea. What kind of motivates and inspires you, I don't really think is love, being more independent, having better boundaries within yourself and to others, and having a deep, meaningful relationship. I don't think that's really what drives and motivates you, and that's what drives and motivates me. And some of those people are going to stand up for themselves. That's it. That's like the last time of being stressed out about it. Can I like you? Can I be attracted to you? Did I want this dream to come into reality? Yeah. Did I want it to work? Yeah. But I can only have a Four of Wands foundation with another person in the Two of Wands, their dream and aspiration. What drives and motivates us has to be the same, or we're kind of in a mismatch. Four of Wands. I have my Two of Wands, what inspires me in my dream, and you have your dream and what inspires you. And if one is being more authentic and loving and growing and maturing yourself and having good boundaries, and the other person's like not so much about that, and they kind of want to do it this other way, you're kind of harness your fire sign energy differently. What you're kind of motivated and inspired, like at a core foundational level, is different. So, some people who are kind of more manipulative or shadowy or bossy or fearful or immature or defensive, they could be having some more people deciding to maybe leave their life. But they're always going to have people in their life and probably have new people come in their life too that are like, hey, I'm kind of more about those things. Or hey, I'm defensive to love too. I want to be in a relationship. A relationship I was in didn't work. I'd be willing to kind of, you want to indulge me, I'll kind of indulge you. We can both kind of operate from our ego. It'll look good by worldly standards. We might be juggling the truth, but, we maybe we're defensive of doing this work within ourselves to free ourselves from things that manipulate us to be in relationships with people who want to do a more deep, meaningful relationship, or step out of their comfort zone. And I'm not ready to step out of my comfort zone. This is still my truth. This is still how I view the world. And if they get in a relationship with someone, or are in a relationship with someone who's more that way, well, then that would be a just and fair relationship. And the high vibe people kind of realize that. And it's like, if that was my truth and that was my dream, I would have kept staying in it. But with the way that it was and the truth of the reality of what it was, I wanted to get away from there and become independent of it, because I don't think those people wanted me to love and believe in myself. I don't think those people wanted me to have good boundaries. I don't think they wanted to be in a deep, meaningful relationship. And I didn't want to keep moving forward with someone who I was kind of having to indulge in their more worldly, egoic view of life. I didn't find it very emotionally fulfilling. I could have found it, if I would have stayed in it, it would have been to stay in it more for those reasons. And I don't like feeling and letting things like that manipulate me, because I have a dream and I'm not willing to give up my dream. And I'm going to go invest my time, energy, and effort into people who I think are more motivated and inspired by love than this. And so they might be moving forward in something. They might even come to tell you that, guess what? I'm moving forward in this. It's like, good luck. Good for you. Congratulations. And if their dream is to have a certain image and status in the world, and this provides that, and that's kind of what's the most important thing versus having a more deep, meaningful relationship, well, then I guess maybe they'll be happy in that relationship, and they found someone who's willing to indulge them in that way, or they're indulging someone else in order to have these things. Hey, whatever is your truth, that's your truth. That's not my truth. And I'm doing things a little differently. So, sometimes people who do probably think life should just be more about them. I don't want to do love. I think there's people, if I might look, the Leo card and all that can look like you look victorious or successful in some way in the world, or attractive or charming, or money or status or social clout. Some people, that is how they view life, that if I have these things of the world, I don't really have to do love. because there's other people who want what I have or are willing to indulge me in a relationship for whatever it is they think they bring to the table that those people could really value. And yeah, if they can find someone, hey man, you're really good looking. Yep, I'll be in a relationship with you. Yep, jump, I'll jump. You want me to do this? Yep, I'll do that. Or you got money, or you got status, or whatever you got. You know? And for some people, I don't know. I think they'll see people who are in relationships where it does seem like they have a more authentic, deep, meaningful relationship, and people who want to be in a relationship with them because they are in high vibe. The Page of Wands is that you are authentic and creative and inspired and loving and encouraging. You harness these energies in a high vibe way, and the more shadowy people harness them in a more shadowy way. And they see you also freeing yourself from things that manipulate you or your defensiveness or your egoic nature or being more about yourself. And they see you going on this new adventure in truth and love. And they know, but hiding from the world, that they're kind of juggling the truth and that they're maybe kind of two faced. And I don't know that that's anything to be proud of. And this card's kind of in, well, we won't get into that. I don't know. Eventually, some of those people could think, you know, maybe this is kind of immature. Maybe this is kind of self indulgent. And, you know, we're either being a good example in the world or a poor example in the world. And there might be some people that, by other people living their life a certain way and not living life a different way and kind of growing up and maturing themselves and believing in themselves, it might inspire some other people like, why am I not doing that? And then they might want to meet some people. And I think loving people can be loving and encouraging to people. But, if they don't work through that and kind of embody that energy themselves, eventually the high vibe people are like, yeah, but I also think high vibe people have learned to keep people in the friend zone. You stay in the friend zone until I do think you've really freed yourself from these things, because I already got in relationships with people before. And then it was like they didn't have the incentive because, well, you're already in the relationship with me. I don't think you're going to leave, or you love me. You got more emotionally invested. That's Scorpio energy. I don't think you're going to leave. And it's like, oh, yes, I will. And some people, and some other people could know that too. It's like, gee, it seems like they had everything they could have wanted by worldly standards. And they might be staying in friendships and relationships and jobs for those reasons. And if they were to come get in a relationship with you, it's like, if you want to do this bullshit, go do it with someone else. Enjoy your life. And some of those people are going to be like, nope. From the not, well, the eight, yeah, letting go from the 8 down to the 7, letting go, thinking that I'll be more emotionally fulfilled making my life more about these things than love. And they kind of see through the illusion. Nope, I don't want to make my life about that. I am willing to quit investing in that to have some hope and faith and belief in myself and in others and in love. And some other people are going to keep being more motivated and inspired by themselves and the world and other people in their life. Maybe people that they could look up to and admire, regardless of how old they are, instead of listening to their own intuition and standing up for themselves. They'll kind of make their life maybe just more about conforming to the world. So there you go, Cancer. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.